Hello and good afternoon. This is Mike with Tag Roofing and Restoration. We are here at the Powell residence on Sanderson Drive in Dayton, Ohio. Insurance has agreed to pay for the removal and replacement of the skylight kits because he's getting some interior leaking coming on. And we just want to make sure that everything is documented properly for the insurance company during this. So we are out here to, again, do a brittleness repairability test because we are concerned with the structural integrity of these shingles being compromised while performing those repairs. As you can kind of see, I've outlined kind of a very basic idea of where we are going to be working at to replace those. And the reason is because obviously, as anybody would know, one shingle, the nails holding one are two layers up, I'm sorry. So in essence, this entire area may need to be manipulated. It just depends on how far over some of these shingles go. And my original basis for that was this one, because it is already loose. Find that it ends here, right? That is where that shingle ends. That has to be manipulated to get all of this out. It all has to be manipulated at some point. So there's a couple other things that we like to keep in mind. First off, while we're performing repairs, are the shingles pliable? Whenever we go to manipulate these, are they going to break, tear, crease anywhere along, the line where there's going to be manipulated at? Whenever we go to separate those seals on these shingles, will you get any of that transfer from one shingle to another, that material transfer from one to the next? The granular loss, obviously the same thing as creasing, cracking, tearing, bending, breaking, anything associated with that. The granulars are its main point, that overall affects its water shedding ability. Not good. And then another thing that we like to keep in mind of is removing the nails from one shingle to the next and then putting another one in. It doesn't always go exactly as planned. I know that some people like to think that it does. The last thing that I am going to point out is these are the materials. Are they compatible? As you can see, kind of new versus the old. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate kind of what happens during those repairs. Because the shingle needs to be manipulated to a certain degree. This one right here, a couple of these in this area are already loose. This one was already loose. I would also like to note, you can see this shingle that I'm about to do this on. This is the shingle here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate that seal. I'm going to manipulate that to a certain degree, and we're going to see what happens. So again, in order to get the nails for one shingle to the next, these have to be manipulated to a certain degree. And again, we are not intentionally going to try and damage these shingles. Again, this is just to show a baseline image of what that's going to look like, because every single shingle in this area is going to have to be manipulated to get shingles out, to get these flashing kits out. We don't know how far over they go. And then to be able to put nails back down. In any case, you can see I'm barely rubbing this here. And what I'll show you is what it's starting to do across the top of this, very faintly, but still distinguishable enough to know that the next time storm comes through, these will be the next ones to go. As you can see, it's starting to create this crease, this crack across the top of this shingle, which means for every shingle that we manipulate, it's going to damage them, okay? And then the next time that you guys get a windstorm, well, these guys get a windstorm, these are going to be the next ones to go. This is a failed brittleness repairability test. These shingles are not repairable. Any manipulation will cause them to break. Fail.